There has to be clarity in the mind of the player before he does anything. So understanding the plan is massive. Then developing that understanding on the pitch and having a cohesive team is huge. I've been involved in teams in the past where things were complicated or as a player myself, I didn't quite understand things and I was chasing my tail around the pitch. So it's such an important thing that there's clarity in the mind of the player so that he starts to get what the plan is. And then when you bring a whole group of unbelievably talented players together, they can put it together quite quickly and develop this cohesion that everyone's after. It's funny, there's times when you look at the stats after matches, and I wouldn't be huge in stats, but you look at the stats after matches and you're almost better off not having the ball. And you see teams kicking the ball away. So you think about how some teams are set up. They set up their defences and their set piece and nothing else. They kick the ball in their own 22. They're exiting all the way up to the half, because they understand that in the international match there's so much pressure on teams. So the ball is not with them. They're booting it down the other end, and with a defence which is quite easy to put together, they pressurise teams and they play a territory game. So the kicking game, where teams are playing, is having a huge influence. Defences seem to be on top at the moment, and when you think about the offside line and what's happening at the ruck, from set piece, teams tend to creep up. On the offside line, teams tend to again test the areas. It's not quite black and white. Teams will stress. It's an unbelievably tough job for a referee in a game of rugby, and sometimes some of the best teams will really stress the breakdown, the offside line. So if you're being kicked into your own half the whole time and you're being pressurised, and there's a team that's playing a territory match, and you're trying to play out of this, it becomes very, very difficult because of this grey area around the ruck, the offside line, set piece, and they're trying to address that now where you have a line out and we're supposed to be 10 back and they're supposed to be 10 back, but as the ball comes off the top they're already 5, 4, 3, 2 and we're getting hit behind the gain line or on the gain line. I know they're addressing it now, but it's at a place now where it's very difficult to attack, and you see that in the stats where teams tend to just kick the ball, get into a certain part of the field, then use a strong defence or a strong set piece to try and impose themselves in the game. So it's having a huge influence on how teams set up. You simply don't have a lot of time as a coach, but as a player equally there's a limited amount of time. So in my own area I'm thinking about delivering to the best degree I can, and the time it takes me to do that, and that's one small area, Scrum. I feel for the players at times because there's line out and there's attack and defence and kick chase and there's set plays and so on. So there's so many parts, there's so little time. So I guess that's the difference. In club you've got a pre-season, and you can probably make some mistakes along the way before you get to these marquee games that happen during the year. And at that stage you've worked out what you need to do, where the players are at, and off you go. So I guess with international rugby, you get a group of players together, and they're all eager to play for their country. There's so much energy involved, but the accuracy of your language, because time is limited, knowing what 100% looks like on the field, on the coaching field, knowing that you're delivering 100% as a coach, it's squeezed into this limited amount of time, which causes pressure. And that's the other side of it, is the pressure that's placed on the player, I guess, and everyone involved, to make sure that we're delivering a performance is different to clubland, and it's not something that you shirk away from. It's something that is actually it's a pleasure. Someone said to me recently enough, a little bit of pressure building, and I was like, this is something you actually really, really enjoy and you really love, and pressure can, there's good pressure too. You're winning and winning and winning and winning and winning, and it leads to even more pressure where you're constantly expected to win. But that's something that I love and enjoy, and you almost relish the opportunity to be put into these positions where, well, you've got a limited amount of time, you've got the best players in the country, and there's instantly pressure in there because their expectation is quite big. Everyone's expectation out here is quite big. My expectation is big, and you're in this cauldron, and